Oh, hello.
Hello.
Welcome to the latest edition of Extra Time. Caught Shaka on a little sneaky walk to the gym today.
Oh, yes, it's good
Here
for
at
her.
ESPN.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes, I did. You called her Seb, by the way.
Did I?
Yeah, you did.
Oh, sorry,
I'm not sure how pleased either of them will be.
Yeah, sorry, I did not mean
Even
that.
now with you.
Right, let's not waffle today.
Okay, we won't waffle. Hello, Frank. That's a
Show
warning,
went- I
apparently.
tell you what, the show was going well, and then we ran in all these
Hello.
these highlights that are just non-descript. It drives me absolutely potty.
Craig is not a fan of highlights. Okay, 1st question.
I'm a fan of highlights from leagues that are of interest.
To you.
The rest of it is like, no, not to me, because those leagues are not of any interest to anybody that we work with. Right? None. Right? And I defy anybody to tell me different. Right? Defy anybody. Right?
Okay, does Harry Kane need to win a Champions League with Bayern Munich to shut his critics up, or are domestic trophies enough?
Domestic trophies are a start, but ultimately, I don't think Bayern are ever judged on just winning domestic trophies, Harry Kane or not. So the answer to that is yes.
For Frank, who's the better centre-back, Saliba or Konate?
I will go for Saliba right now, even if I think that Konate is improving a lot, and I feel Konate more mature this season than I've seen before. So let's say Konate is catching up, but Saliba is still a little bit ahead of Konate right now. But we are gifted, really. Konate, Saliba, two nice and very good centre-backs.
Can't be bad. Craig, is it a good thing to be really good friends with your manager, or do you need to have a professional boundary as a player and coach? Obviously talking about Javier Mascherano coming into Miami, some big connections there with the likes of Messi and co.
There has to be a boundary. That's all I've got to say.
Messi was always going to be calling these shots, though. You got the feeling anyway that whoever was coming in was going to be Messi's choice. So I think it was inevitable that it would be somebody that he would have a relationship with.
Because if you don't have a boundary, the manager has to make decisions. And if there's no boundary, then you can't make decisions.
Yeah.
That's an ordinary circumstance. I just feel Messi and Inter Miami it's just so different. He was always going to call those shots.
What do you think, Frank?
Yeah, I agree. You need boundaries. I've been through that. I experienced that with Gianluca Vialli being my best friend and suddenly becoming my coach. And we were all the time together with Dan Petrescu, Roberto Di Matteo, Gianfranco Zola as well. And he put himself a little bit apart, but he had to. As Craig said, he has to make decision. And so it's only fair. And if Mascherano wants to be considered as a coach and not as a friend of the players, he will have to create those boundaries and be a real professional coach.
Who do you think is the most underrated player in the Premier League right now?
Underrated?
It's a good question.
Diaz.
Who?
Yes?
Diaz from Liverpool. I think he deserves more credit.
Luis Diaz. That's a good show. I don't know.
Morgan Rogers? Anthony Gordon?
Gordon, yeah, Gordon, well done.
Where else? What other teams?
That's enough. Got a good couple in there.
Well, we've got a few in there.
Got a good couple in there.
Let us know what you think. All right. For Frank, what has been the reaction of French fans to Red Bull buying a stake in Paris FC in League 2? With their ambitious plans to get promoted, do you think this will eventually benefit viewership of Ligue 1? I should have said Ligue 2.
Yeah, it's gonna be very interesting. But French people don't really care about the Red Bull. It's more because Mr. Arnaud from LVMH, who includes Louis Vuitton, Hermes, and all luxury brand that he owns, are aware of what's going on with Paris FC and expect a lot. Well, the club already said that they don't want to buy like crazy players. They want to be promoted, but they want to take care of the academy. They don't want to do like Paris Saint-Germain by buying stars and everything. They want to create something which goes with the Red Bull philosophy, let's say, what we see already in Austria or in Germany. And so, therefore, people, I think, in France are not even aware that Red Bull are inside the deal, in the deal. It's really about Mr. Arnault. Mr. Arnault is the third richest man in the world, and as a French person, he gets all the attention. So it's not about Red Bull. It's more about LVMH and Mr. Arnault.
Guys, what was your most difficult day in your playing career? Was it an injury or a massive defeat, or maybe acknowledging retirement, or perhaps some combination?
Acknowledging retirement for me was the toughest. You know, you live your boyhood dreams for, well, in my case, 15 years, and then all of a sudden, you know, you have to knowingly pull the plug on it. That was tough. That was tough for me emotionally.
I couldn't wait to finish. I've been honest.
Today's show or your career?
Both.
Oh, God.
Both were equally as frustrating at the end. They started pretty well, and then at the end it all went pear-shaped.
I'll tape it off.
Which
We're talking about
Today's
the show
show.
or your career?
both. I do say the end of today's show went more pear-shaped than my career, but that's another story. Highlights. Somebody will email me after this telling me they've got to run these highlights. They just got to run them. Like, just, no, I couldn't wait to finish because I'm not going to go over it. I've went over it before because of injuries and I wasn't enjoying it. And you just can't do what you once did. I mean, I couldn't stand in a penalty box with a big pair of gloves on, just watching everybody. Yeah, in the middle of the park, you got to run around.
What do you need?
And I couldn't do it, so I was glad to finish. Delighted to finish, I should say. I was. Couldn't wait. Just couldn't. Didn't enjoy it at the end. Didn't enjoy it.
But no difficult days that stand out aside from like retirement or a bad injury?
Well, yeah, it was a difficult day at Villa Park in the FA Cup semi-final when I made a mistake that cost us a place in the final. That's always a difficult day for anybody in their career if a big part of it is down to them, which it was. So then you got to come back from that, which I did, fortunately, and then I moved to Celtic and had, won some trophies and a league title up there and played with some great players. When I played with some great players at Chelsea when Frank was there, and then I was lucky to go to Celtic and play with some great players as well. I'm not going to name them all, but the Henrik Larssons and all these guys, it was fantastic. So, you got to bounce back from these moments, but that was a down day. That was a down time for me off the back of that semi-final because I knew how important it was. So you always get these. People think you still hang on to it. I don't hang on to that because you can't change it. You can't change it, but you think back to the time and it's hard. It's a bit like, I suppose, if you make a mistake in goal and there's nobody, you're the last line of defence. You just have to shoulder the blame. That's bottom line.
Frank?
It's more than a difficult day. It was a sad day. In World Cup 2002, I got injured against Uruguay, and I tried to work in case we would have won the third game against Denmark, and I could have carried on playing to keep on going with the competition. But we lost against Denmark, and we've been kicked out of the competition. And I knew that would be the end of it, internationally wise for me. And when Michel Platini came and hugged me, well, that was a really hard day because I knew that it was the end of me being an international French player. So I have to say that I cried that day, knowing that was the end of it.
All right.
It was a hard day, and I don't know if you guys found it the same, because we all moved clubs, albeit I was at Chelsea just a tad under 10 years. But that was a tough day, walking out. I tell you what was a tough day. To go to the training ground at Harlington, as it was then, the old training ground, to pick up your boots and say your goodbyes to all your players. That was a tough day because it was almost, we had a good dressing room, Frank will tell you. We had a lot of good guys at Chelsea. It was fun. Wasn't the best team at that time, but it was fun. It was fun. And I didn't think I was going to get that at the other end. You know, when I moved to Celtic, I thought I'm not going to replicate that. But I was wrong. I was wrong. There is another dressing room out there. There is another team of good camaraderie. Not always, but
Well, my experience was different from yours in that I came over from the US, university in the US.
posh.
And I started it at university in the US. And I didn't have 10 years anywhere.
Yeah, but you still moved clubs.
I moved clubs, but
You had more clubs than Jack Nicklaus.
Exactly. So I didn't have roots.
So you didn't.
I just grabbed my
So
book.
there wasn't a club there wasn't a dressing room when you were leaving, when you went to get your boots or that you did whatever, and you were a little sad or emotional when you left because you thought this is just a fantastic dressing room, or was it just I'm getting more money?
No. I think at the end of my time at each club, I had to move. You know, I was out of favour or whatever it is, or you know, or stepping up as I was from Reading to go to Newcastle, and I just had to move. So I had made my mind up that I was moving a long time before, so it wasn't hard for me. We laughed.
You know, Craig. you know, Craig. When I left Chelsea, we were still training at Harlington, and I used to have, after you moved the first year, I stayed 5 years at Chelsea, and the last year, before I left to Marseille, I used to go every day having a tea with the two, how do you say, grass gardeners? I don't know, how do you say, grass keepers?
Groundsmen.
And,
Groundsman.
The groundsman.
Grassmen, yeah. And I used to have every morning a cup of tea with the two grassmen. So, and when I left, I went to sign for Marseille, and I came back to say goodbye, and as you said, to pick up my boots and everything. And we had the last cup of tea, the three of us. I never seen them again since. And that's just make me think of that. Makes me sad because that was something special. That was Chelsea before. You know, when you had something different. That wasn't that professional, but we had fun. And we had a good time in a very, and Craig can witness that, very poor situation, you know, training ground. But that was great. We had a great time all together.
Should put out a request to see if
That's
those guys
very
are still
nice.
around.
Well, the grass keepers.
Yeah.
The grassmen.
The grassmen.
The grassmen.
You had a great time with them. All right, we'll end it there, shall we?
Come
Let's
on.
do
Come
that.
on.
Right, you're Frank. You don't. English is a second language, Frank. I'm not laughing.
No, I'm not laughing at that. Okay.
Yes, she was.
It's okay.
Just wrap it up.
That'll do
Just wrap it
for
up,
the late
Marie.
edition.
Wrap it up.
I'm sorry, Frank. You know I love you. I'll be back tomorrow, and I'll be
My second
kinder, I
language too.
promise.